गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। तो एतत् लास्ट सेंटेंस एतत् पूर्वकत्वात् उत्तरपादादिगमस्य प्राथाम्यमस्य, मीनिंग व्हाट? Only when the knowledge of the prathama pada virat rupa is understood, that is only when we understand the ekatva with virata, the subsequent padas, the knowledge of the subsequent padas would take place. So the precedence is required. First we have to understand what is the nature of the Virat, and then slowly we will understand the other padas also. Now, Katham Ayamatma Brahma iti Prachagatmanaha asya chatushpatve prakrute dvilokadinam murthadi angatvam iti. Now the question is asked, sir, one thing. No, Ayamatma Brahma iti Prachagatmanaha asya chatushpatve prakrute. Now the present topic is what? The present Ayamatma Brahma. This self is Brahman. What is the nature of the self? It is of the Chatushpatvam, the self which has having the four padas. The four padas self, meaning the expression of the one self into four padas. So Chatushpada Atma, Ayamatma Brahma. Ultimately this self is Brahman. This is what is mentioned ultimately here. So the topic is now related to Prachagatma. That is indwelling self, our own indwelling self. That indwelling self is referred as, and regarding that indwelling self, Prachagatma, it is said Ayamatma Brahma. So regarding that Prachagatma only, that Prachagatma is Brahma, it is mentioned. So the topic under discussion is about this. Now suddenly, Prakrute, Chatushpatve Prakrute, Dvilokadina Murthadi Angatvam iti Katham. Now, how can you suddenly bring that the heaven, etc., Dviladi, Dvilokadi? Suddenly you spoke about heaven because 7 limbs, Saptangatvam, heaven is the head, etc. When you are talking about Parama Atma as Chatushpada, suddenly how can you suddenly speak about this Virat Rupa with 7 limbs? Has Swarga is head, etc., etc. Suddenly where come this man has come now? This kind of head, limbs, etc. about the self. When you are talking about only 4 parts. So Acharya gives this reply. Acharya says, Na esha doshaha. Now this is not nothing any a problem. It is not a fault. It is not a dosha. Now sarvasya prapanchasya sa साधिदैवकस्य अनेकात्मना चतुष्पात्वस्य विवक्षितत्वात्. Now, what is here the intention? Vivakshitatvat. It is actually, it is showed here The intending to show, or what exactly is presented here is Sarvasya Prapanchasya along with Sadhidaivikasya. Now see, all the Prapancha means the made up of Panchikruta Panchamahabhuta Srushti. This Prapancha, Panchikruta Panchamahabhutas, that is after the mixture of Tanmatras, space, air, fire, water and earth, after their mixture. In the original form, Tanmatra means space alone, fire alone, air alone, etc. When they are mixed. So therefore, Apanchikruta, meaning before the mixture, the space, air, fire and water and earth are unimaginable to us. We cannot see them. They are beyond our senses. Only after mixture of Akasha, etc. in the formula 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4, 1 by 4, 1 by 4, 1 by 4, like that. Only after the mixture is completed between the 5 elements in a prescribed formula, it becomes Panchikruta Panchamahabhuta Srushti, meaning after mixing up. So, in the space also other 4 elements are added. Air also other 4 are added. In our air what we see. In the fire also other 4 are added. In the water also other 4, space, air, Agni and Prithvi is added. And in Prithvi also first 4 are added. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala, all these are added. This is called Prapancha. So now what we see is Panchikruta Panchamahabhuta Srushti, the creation made up of the 5 great elements after their admixture. This is what perceived by us. So, Sarvasya Prapanchasya. Now, in this Prapancha, you take anything, Panchikruta Mahabhuta Srushti mein, for everything there is a Adidevata. Eyes, for Adidevata is Surya Bhagavan. Vani ki Adidevata is Agni. That means the presiding deities, if they are not there, that particular limb or organ will not function at all, the sense organ. So, along with Adidevata Srushti, so not only Adibhautika Srushti, which is the gross elements, but along with their presiding deities. So, here Acharya Sarvasya Prapanchasya Sadhidaivakasya, along with Sadhi Bhutadi Daivam Mam Sadhi Yajñam Chaye Viduhu, 7th chapter, last sloka. Therefore, Bhagavan Krishna says in 8th chapter, Kim Tat Brahma, Kim Adhyatmam, Adidaivam Kimuchyate. So, Panchikruta Prapancha mein, this Panchikruta Panchamahabhuta Srushti, the sense organs, sense objects, everything has their own or its own presiding deity. So, without that Devata, that potential, the illumining factor, the particular sense organ won't work. So, see, this is Chatushpatvam, Chatushpatvasya Vivakshitattva. Now, what is this Chatushpatvasya? This fourfold of nature, the Chatushpada Atma, when we speak about, in that Atma, Ekatva is propounded. How Ekatva is propounded? Chatushpatvam, it includes the Bhautika Srushti, Adidevata Srushti, and also beyond. Beyond baad mein aayega. So it is all one unit. So I am not speaking about Chatushpada Atma or Atma something else away from the Virat Rupa, away from Adidevata Srushti, away from Hiranyagarbha, away from Avyakta, unmanifested, Moola Prakriti. So this Atma is himself, the one self alone, is expressing as all this, is encompassing, is actually not four, but four things are seen. From the standpoint of the self, there are no four. From our standpoint of view, for our understanding and realization, we divided that into four. But from his own point of view, like for example, when somebody says, we don't say that I am divided myself into legs and hands and feet, etc. My anubhuti, my experience with respect to me is, I am one. So I don't want to, suppose somebody says that, who are you, meaning what? I am I. This I is prayoga. This aham is used with respect to every limb of me. So I am the total. So Chatushpada mein everything is included. So don't think that Chatushpada Atma is something different. Chatushpada Atma means one Atma which is expressing and it is encompassing everything. So nothing is excluding, nothing is outside it. So therefore here everything is contributing to the constitution of the four parts. Four padas mein Virat Rupa also is constituting, Hiranyagarbha is also constituting, Moola Prakriti, Avyakta Prakriti also is constituting. So nothing is separated. Chatushpad mein sara ka sara cheez aa gaya hai. It is one Atma only encompassing all this and functioning in different ways. So Chatushpatvasya Vivakshitatvat Evam cha sati Sarva Prapancha Upashame Advaita Siddhihi. Now, only when this is understood in this way, Evam cha sati, if this is said in this way alone, if it is like this alone, meaning Virat Rupa, Hiranyagarbha, Moola Prakriti are three quarters which go into the Chatushpatvam of the Paramatma, of Atma. They are not separate. So it is only when in this way, if it is treated like this, in this considered Evam cha sati, Sarva Prapanchapashame Advaita Siddhihi. Only when this is understood in this way, then alone we can say, when all the Prapancha is dissolved, Advaita Siddhi is realized, takes place. If you say Virat Rupa is separate, Adidevata Srushti is separate outside the Chatushpada Atma, then when Prapancha is dissolved, how can Advaita is realized? Or when Hiranyagarbha is dissolved, how can Advaita is realized? Hiranyagarbha dissolved means when Virat Rupa cannot also exist, because Virat say Hiranyagarbha alone gave birth to Virat Rupa. So Hiranyagarbha dissolved means Hiranyagarbha ke bhitar jo hai, meaning the Virat Rupa which is effect of born of Hiranyagarbha cannot exist. So Evam cha sati sarva prapanchopashame advaita siddhi. Otherwise there cannot be any advaita siddhi. So one pada purva pravilapanena, by dissolving the earlier ones. So sarvabhutastascha atma eko drushtasyat sarvabhutani atmani cha atmani. No, sarvabhutastascha, that atma, the atma which is residing in all beings, drushtaha syat sarvabhutani cha atmani. Then what happens? The self which is it is seen as one, and everything is seen as in self, and self alone is seen in every being. So when we otherwise what happens? Prapancha upashamanam, when prapancha is dissolved, Advaita Siddhi may not take place. Why? Prapancha is different. If you don't consider Virat Rupa, Adidevata Srushti as a constituent parts in Chatushpada Atma, but how they are made parts into Karshapanavat, Natu Gauhu iva, Chatushpada Gauhu iva, not like cow having four legs, but Karshapanavat. It's like a coin, 1 rupee coin, they say, which contains other four included in it. So Chatushpada Atma means not that Atma is practically divided into four, but one Atma alone is functioning as four, expressing as four. He himself is Virat Rupa. So one who is identified with the total Virat is my own Sarupa only. So me and he, there is no difference. The only Atma alone is there. So sarvabhutascha Atma eko tushta syat sarvabhutani cha Atmani yastu sarvani bhutani Atme va anupashyati Atmai va anupashyati. All those things, Ishavasya Upanishad mantra comes. Sarvabhutani cha Atmani, sorry. Yastu sarvani bhutani Atmai va bhut vijanatah. All those things, mantras are there. Tatra ko mohakah Śloka ekatvam anupashyatah. Upanishad says, when you see all beings, sarvabhutani cha yastu sarvani bhutani. So sarvani bhutani Atmani eva pashyati. It is a real practical experience. It will be. There is no ambiguity in it. There is no intervention of thought is required. It is a direct realization that everything is in me. So, then alone this Advaita Siddhi takes place. Therefore, your question is, in Chatushpada Atma, when Atma, which is of nature of four padas, that Atma is nothing but my Pratyagatma. So my Pratyagatma itself is nothing but Chatushpada Atma. It is the intended meaning of the Upanishad mantra. So Ayam Atma Brahma mein, what is Brahma? Chatushpada Brahma. What is Ayam Atma? This self. So this self is Brahman. This is what is pointed out here. In this context, present context, how could you bring, or what is the necessity for you to bring the Virat Rupa with the 7 limbs Saptanga in the mantra? Ye kahan se aaya? So Acharya says Virat, the Chatushpada mein Virat is also going a component. Everything is a component there. It is not separate. Then another Advaita Siddhi ityadi Shrutyartham upasamhrutascha evam syat. So then alone the Upanishad meaning will be affirmed. Upasamhrutascha evam syat ityadi Shrutyartham ityadi. When this kind of understanding is taken, then alone this understanding is affirmed with the Shruti meaning. What is the Shruti pointing out? Shruti is pointing out Advaita Siddhi. All Upanishad mantras, ultimately all Upanishads are pointing out one Siddhi, one Advaita. Atma is one. There cannot be any difference. That is the ultimate. So, only in this understanding alone, we will be able to realize what Shruti Mata wants us to realize. So, it will be affirmed. This understanding alone affirms what the Shruti said. Otherwise, Shruti Virodha ho jayega. Your understanding will be contradictory to what Shruti Mata is pointing out. So, Veda Pramanam for us. Therefore, Anyatha, otherwise what happens? Swadeha Parichinna Eva Pratyagatma Swadeva Parichinna Eva Pratyagatma Sankhyaadibhi iva Drushtah Syat Tatha cha Sati Advaitam iti Shruti Kruto Vishesho Nasyat Sankhyaadi Darshanena Avisheshat. Now see, Anyatha, otherwise what happens? Suppose we don't take this into consideration, that one Atma, Chatushpada Atma is Brahma, and my Pratyagatma is none other than that Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. Chatushpada mein everything is included. And then alone, Prapanchapashama when takes place, when the duality is dissolved, when the multiplicity, apparent multiplicity is dissolved, then Advaita Siddhi is realized, Advaita is realized, or Advaita Siddhi takes place. Advaita Anubhuti is accomplished. Now, so Anyatha hi Sarvadeha Parichinna eva Apratyagatma. Otherwise what happens? This Pratyagatma will be circumscribed or limited or conditioned by one physical body. So what is Pratyagatma? That Atma which is confined into or confined by one physical body. Each Pratyagatma, like Sankhya. What Sankhya says? Sankhya says Purushas are plenty. Prakriti is one. Each Purusha, Purushayanat. The indwelling self is different from other indwelling self. So one Atma is liberated from the clutches of Prakriti. It doesn't mean other Atmas are also realized other Atmas are still suffering. So Atma is in one per head. If you don't accept the oneness, then what happens? Sarvadeha parichinna eva pratyagatma. Sorry, not Sarvadeha. Swadeha. Swadeha parichinna eva. Meaning, your pratyagatma is conditioned by your own physical body. Swadeha parichinna. So all beings are conditioned by their own bodies. एक बात है, either if you don't accept the oneness of Atma, only one Paramatma is there, one Atma is there. If you don't accept, that means you are accepting the next point, Dvaitam. When you accept Dvaitam, then where is my Atma? My Atma is conditioned by Swadeha. So each one of us are conditioned by our own physical bodies. Which Siddhanta speaks about this? Sankhya. So anyata hi swadeha parichinna eva pratyagatma. In the own, then Sankhya eva drushtasyat. Like Sankhya's, see, this Atma, Pratyagatma is conditioned by one's own body, as seen or as understood by Sankhyans. You will also feel that each Atma is separate from other, and my Atma is confined by this physical body. Tathacha, in that case, Tathacha Sati, in that case, in this, if this is understood, meaning when Sankhya is taken into consideration, Tathacha Sati, Advaitam iti Srutikato Vishesho Nasyat. That, that Vishesha, which is said in particularly Shruti Mata, specifically as mentioned, that Atma is one without the second. So, Advaita iti Srutikato Vishesho Nasyat. So, this Advaita, particularly said, this one, Shruti Mata said this is Advaita, it won't be possible to equate your understanding with Shruti Mata. Shruti Mata and your experience, your understanding that I am a Atma conditioned by my physical body is not in accordance to the understanding of or teachings of Shruti Mata. That's what Acharya very clearly says. So, Sankhya Darshanena Avisheshat. Because why? There will not be any difference between Shruti, Advaita proposition, Shruti Mata, which is propounding Advaita, and Sankhya Darshana, which is proposing Dvaita. There will not be any difference remaining. Now, because why? Like Sankhyans, you have also accepted that there is a duality, that this Virat is different, I am different from Virat, I am confined by one body. Then there is nothing distinction between Sankhya Siddhanta and Advaita propounded by Shruti. Are you understanding? Ishyate cha sarva upanishadam sarvatmaikya pratipadakatvam. And Ishyate cha sarva upanishadam sarvatma aikya pratipadakatvam. And it is desirable. In all Upanishads, it is desired. In every Upanishad speaks about, or every Upanishad wishes the students to come to know and realize the oneness. Sarva Upanishadam Sarvatma Aikya Pratipadakatvam. Everywhere in every Upanishad it is said what? The unity of the selves is propounded. Sarva Atma Ekatva Pratipadakatvam Ishyate. That is what is the desired. Ultimately Shruti Upanishad says there is only oneness. All these apparently seen different selves, Atmas, are actually not different. Sutre Manigana Eva Jaise, or one Adhisthana Chaitanyam, that is One self alone expressing. So, Kshetrajñam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. If we read Acharya Bhāṣya on 13th chapter itself, is a big sadhana. So, ataha, therefore, yuktam, it is quite proper only, logical only, correct only. Yuktam, what? Eva, yuktam eva, asya adhyatmikasya pindatmanaha dilokadi angatvena viradatmana adidaivikena ekatvam abhipretya saptangatva vachanam. So, it's only Chatushpatvam, the four parts Atma alone is everything expressing. Therefore, Yuktam, it is correct, proper, quite proper only. What is proper? That the identity between the individual self and the Virat Rupa is perfect identity, is perfect and it is correct and it is proper. Therefore, see, so, Pindatmanaha, individual physical context in the body. Ektam eva asya adhyatmikasya pindatmanaha dhilokadi angatvena viradatmana adidaivikena. No, in adidaivika, that is called along with the Devata Srushti from the divine context. Pindatma, all those things, individual contact. एंड फ्रॉम देवता सृष्टि के साथ समष्टि के जब लेके जाएंगे, लेकिन सोचते हैं इन दोनों के बीच में एकत्व प्रतिपादन टेक्स प्लेस. सो इट इज क्वाइट रीजनेबल. देन व्हाट? बिकॉज इफ आई एम विराट रूपा एंड इफ आई एम द इंडिविजुअल इज नन अदर देन विराट रूपा, देन मी आई हैव हेड, हैंड्स, लेग्स, लिम्स एटसेट्रा, and I am we're one with Virat Rupa. So what is the wrong in saying Virat Rupa also has his head, legs and limbs? That's why it is said also, man is made in the image of God. Other great mantra is, as the above, so the below. So I have a head, so Virat Rupa also must have a head. Why? There is a oneness between me and Virat Rupa. What is microcosm? Microcosm is a miniature form of the macrocosm. Mūrdhāte vyapatishyat ityādi linga darshanācha. Now, it is also confirmed when it is said in Māṇḍukya, which Acharya quoted, that he said, no, your head would have dropped off. He said, Mūrdhāte Vyapatishyat ityādi linga darshanāt. So it is also confirmed by showing this kind of examples and stories in Shruti. Shruti Mata said, what is the story now? How you have to understand the story. Otherwise, the meaning is what? Mūrdha means your head. Te mūrdha, your head. Vyapatishyat, it would have been, it would have dropped off. Māṇḍukya Upanishad. Now, Māṇḍukya Upanishad, lot of upasanas are given in Vedas. Māṇḍukya Upanishad. So, one story comes there. 6 Brahmanas. Brahmanas means rishis, practicing rishis, munis. Their names are also given. We are not interested into big story and all, because they meet in one house. Then again, they all go there. They have doubts regarding Vaishwanara, Vishwa. Vaishwanara ke bare mein. So they go to Ashwapati for this knowledge of. So the 6 Brahmanas, they went and approached Ashwapati. They asked Vishnu. So anyway, a lot of things will happen. So these 6 people, earlier what they used to worship Vaishwanara, not completely. Various limbs of Vaishwanara they used to worship. So any limb of Vaishwanara they would worship as Vaishwanara himself. Very deep meanings are there. So they meditated. Vaishwanara, meditating on the feet of Vaishwanara as Vaishwanara only. Meditating on the head of Vaishwanara as Vaishvanara. So various limbs they meditated. So they were meditating on various limbs of Vaishvanara as Vaishvanara himself, considering that limb as Vaishvanara himself. तब क्या हुआ? Ashwapati, he pointed out their mistakes. He said, when you are worshipping a limb, you are not worshipping totality, no? How can you worship an aspect thinking that it is total? So he pointed out their mistakes and said, unless all the 6 Brahmanas had come to him for rectification, for proper correction, etc., he said, their head, eye and life, etc., would have been destroyed. He said, but only aspect, one aspect is worshipped, not the everything. Think about it. So therefore, it is said here, if you are worshipping only head or eye or prana or aspect of Virat Rupa, then what would have happened? Your head would have been dropped off. इसका मतलब क्या है? Now see, but the individual and Virat are not same. For example, he could say that your head will drop off because there is an identity between the individual and the Virat Rupa. Otherwise, what happens if the individual and the Virata, Vesti and Virata are not same? No, it is not reasonable to say that, for instance, that from the mistaken worship of heaven as Virat himself, because you mistaken the head alone worshipped by you, and you mistook that head alone is Virata, because you have misunderstood Virata only as head but not the total body, then otherwise your own head should be chopped off or would have been dropped off on the ground because of the mistake in your worship, in incomplete worship that you have been doing. It is unreasonable to say that if there is no equal sameness between Virat and me. तो मतलब क्या है? It means an aspect of worship should not be treated as worship of totality. This will take, I don't know how many lives you understand. Like atyant very ground level, I will tell you. Higher states I cannot now keep on spending time. गाड़ी अटक जाता है यहाँ पे. Grossest level I will tell you. And because higher examples we will not understand because we are not there. तो हमारा उदाहरण हम जहाँ हैं आसपास का उदाहरण ही दे सकते हैं. Suppose you saw only 10 articles in life so far. So whatever I wanted to speak or make you understand about something, I must use examples of 10 only, and 11th example I cannot use. Why you don't understand? तो ग्राउंड लेवल बहुत बता देते, वेरी ग्राउंड लेवल. अब देखिए, you can apply this to on a huge panorama view में लेके you have to apply. I will not go into those details. सिंपल 2-3 उदाहरण सब बोल देते हैं. कुछ लोग एग्जाम्पल सोचते हैं कि बस ऐसे करने से ही भगवान की प्राप्ति हो जाएगी, बाकी सब छोड़ दो. और कुछ लोग सोचते हैं भगवान सगुण ही है, निर्गुण नहीं है. निर्गुण में इतना मजा नहीं आएगा, लेकिन भगवान इज दोषा इडली फॉर योर एंजॉयमेंट. आपको निर्गुण अच्छा लगेगा, सगुण अच्छा लगेगा. आज के लिए सगुण दे दीजिएगा, आज के लिए इडली खाएंगे, कल दोषा खाऊंगा. बेवकूफ जनता है सब. या कुछ लोग कहते हैं बस भजन ही भजन, बस तो कथा ही कथा, कथा में ही सब है, और कर्म में कर्म. One aspect of it is taken and considered it as a whole. Gita also it comes a limited drishti. So the mistake will be, if you do like that, your head will be dropped off. Mūrdhāte prapatishyate. Why did they say, Ashwapati said this? Why the Upasaka is considering an aspect of one of the limbs of Virat Rupa as Virat himself completely and worshipping it. चलो आपको और एक उदाहरण देता हूँ. शरीर के लिए प्रोटीन की आवश्यकता ज़्यादा है तो प्रोटीन ही खाते रहो, कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स बिल्कुल बंद कर दिया, तब क्या होगा? मूर्धाते व्यपतिष्यते, योर हेड विल फॉल ऑफ. प्रोटीन खा के ओनली प्रोटीन. वन एस्पेक्ट इज टेकन. एंड कुछ बेवकूफ लोग हमको भी समझाने के लिए ट्राई करते हैं, और मेरा कान छोड़ देता हूं उनके पास. वो सोचते हैं कि समझ सुन रहे ध्यान से, बस यही खाइएगा, सब कुछ इसमें है. किसमें? केले में. An aspect is taken and considered as a whole. And how can your health will improve? So either we are caught up in only buddhi chintanam, intellect, ज्ञान. अरे बाबा, इंटेलेक्चुअल में आपको जो मिलता है इंफॉर्मेशन इज नॉट ज्ञान. किसने कहा कि हम वेदांत पढ़ रहे हैं? असली वेदांत सुनेगा तो भाग जाएंगे हम सब. वही वेदांत है. तो मूर्धात, दैट इज मीन्स व्हाट? यू कैन नॉट identify with one aspect of Virat Rupa. Total Virat is me. That's why Mahatmas have expressed, बुरा भी भगवान, अच्छा भी भगवान ही है. दोनों इज expressions only. I am neither बुरा nor अच्छा. I am उसका अधिष्ठान और विटनेस, साक्षी. हमारे संस्था में ही हमारे गुरु और हमारा गुरु का उपदेश ही ठीक है, बाकी गुरुओं का बेकार है. एंड एक मूर्ख दूसरा मूर्ख के ऊपर प्रति अपना व्हाट यू कॉल सिंपैथी दिखाते हैं, दया. यही मूर्ख है और दूसरों को मूर्ख कहते हैं. स्वामी जी ये लोग ना, मैं क्या करूं, ये दे आर ऑल कॉट अप इन रिचुअल्स, उनका उद्धार कैसा किया जाए? अच्छा, आपका उद्धार हो गया पूरा भी? और कोई रिचुअल करने वाला, पूजा पाठ करने वाला, वो स्वामी जी वो हमेशा सोचते रहते बेचारा, पता नहीं क्या करता है. उनमें भाव नहीं है, भाव. ये भावुक नहीं है, भावुक. तो फिर कौन है? भव है, कुत्ता. तो आप उसमें भावना लाने के लिए बस, तो आप में भावना आ गई. ऐसे ही दुनिया चलता है. सो इट इज इंडिकेटिंग दैट if I identify with totality, सारा का सारा मैं ही हूँ, बस अच्छा बुरा जो भी है विश्व में, everything is me and me alone. It's not easy. Therefore, विराज एकत्वम उपलक्षणार्थम हिरण्यगर्भा अव्याकृतात्मनोः उक्तम च एतन् मधु ब्राह्मणे यश्च अयम् अस्यां पृथिव्यां तेजोमयो मृतमयः पुरुषो यश्चायमध्यात्मम् इत्यादि. Therefore, विराज एकत्वम उपलक्षणार्थम हिरण्यगर्भ अव्याकृतात्मनोः. Now ekatvam, this oneness between what? The identity with Virat Rupa, that is me and the Virat. Identity with Virat Rupa is only upalakshanartham. It is only first step is showing suggestiveness of what? Unity between, not only unity between Virat and you, but unity with your unity with Hiranyagarbha and also Avyakrita Prakriti. उपलक्षणार्थ बस. इसका मतलब वो भी आ गया है. जैसे कि खाना लेकर आओ, इसका मतलब उसके साथ थैली भी लेके आना. थैली से प्लेट. ब्रिंग वाटर माने पात्र में लेके आओ पीने के लिए. Upalakshanas are not used in Vyavahara also. No language, is possible to communicate. It will become lengthy statements. समय देखो, समय क्या है? बस time please. माने you see your time and read it and understand and open your mouth and tell me. वो सारा का सारी चीज़ आ गया इसमें. इतना बड़ा सेंटेंस कहने के लिए खाना लगाओ माने आप उठो, किचन में जाओ, खाना बनाओ, फिर लाओ, परोसो, प्लेट में ले आना, फिर हमको खिलाना, हम खाएंगे, हम आपके बच्चे हैं तो इसीलिए टेस्टी बनाओ. तो ये सब सारा का सारा आ गया. चावल है कच्चा या पक्का? कच्चा चावल मांग रहे हैं, चावल लेके आओ. माने when I am sitting on dining table, आपको चावल लेके आओ माने cooked food only is understood. This उपलक्षण is both in both of them. Similarly, identity with Virat, इसका मतलब क्या है? It is already suggesting the identity with Hiranyagarbha and अव्याकृत प्रकृति और तेजस एंड प्राज्ञा के साथ भी that identity is shown. They are not three. That is the thing. उपलक्षणार्थम हिरण्यगर्भ अव्याकृतात्मनोः उक्तम च एतत् मधुब्राह्मणे. Madhubrahmana is a portion in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. There it is said that this was shining immortal. Yascha ayam asyam prithvyam tejomayah amrutamayah purushah yascha ayam adhyatmam. So this shining immortal living being who is on this earth is in fact nothing but the shining individual who is seated in the body. माने जो बाहर है जो अंदर है वो एक ही है. इत्यादि सुषुप्त अव्याकृतयोः स्तु एकत्वं सिद्धम एव निर्विशेषत्वात्. And sushupti as well as avyakruta ekatvam siddham. Similarly, the oneness or identity between deep sleep state and also unmanifested state is also proved. Why? Because there is no distinction. In the deep sleep also, all visheshas are dissolved. In avyakrita prakriti, unmanifested state of prakriti also, all the differences or distinctions which have been created earlier are dissolved. So in both these states are indicating the dissolution only. Therefore, there is a oneness between sushupti and avyakritam. Avyakritayoho stu sushupti avyakritayoho stu ekatvam siddham eva nirvisheshatvat. There are no distinctions in these two states. In these two states are dissolved states. Dissolution of all the varieties are dissolved. So when entire waking and dream is dissolved, experiences are dissolved in deep sleep state. There is no distinction, nirvishesha. No experiencer difference, dichotomy is not there. Subject-object dichotomy is not there. Everything is dissolved. Similarly, in avyakrita prakriti, when the whole universe is dissolved in unmanifested state, so these two states are nothing but two states of where absence of distinctions are there. In this sense, these two states are one and the same. Evam cha sati etat siddham bhavishyati sarvadvaita upashame cha advaitam iti. Thus, in this way, it is very clearly proved beyond doubt now that when all the duality is dissolved, Advaita Siddhi is realized or understood or revealed. It is automatically takes place. So this duality is an apparent duality. But whatever is expressed in as duality is nothing but Paramatma alone. So Virat Atma and me is one and same. Why? Myself is Virat self only. My prana is a part of Virat prana. My mind is a part of Virat mind. My limbs and my everything is part of Him. So I am मेरा विराट के अलावा सेपरेट अलग से मेरे एक अस्तित्व कुछ भी नहीं रहा है ही नहीं अस्तित्व. So your question is that how come this 7 limbs Atma has come, Virat Rupa has come now? When we were discussing about Ayam Atma Brahma, that Atma which is of nature of Chatushpada, of the nature of fourfold, 4 pada, 4 quarters self में ये कहाँ से आया? 7 limbs विराट रूपा. So चतुष्पाद में विराट भी है, फर्स्ट प्रथम पाद. And Virat Rupa is expressing as his own. Why? There is oneness between me and Virata. Who am I? Just as I have my own parts, he has his own parts. Why? Ekatvam. So, this is the Jagrata Avastha. Individual is called Vishwa, totality is called Vaishvanara. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadgurunāth Maharaj Ki Jai.